Hi, I'm putting a timer because I got the double of the slides that is possible from a human perspective to showcase in half an hour. I will see at your faces, maybe I will go some extra time, or if you will be bored and angry, I'll cut off. Let's see. The topic is not so easy. I prefer instead to go straight to the point, Edward Snowden, NSA, to build a walkthrough for you. So we'll start a long walk all together. Disclaimer, long one, abstract, who am I, the scenario, the actors, what happened in Venezuela, far country in South America, what happened and is still happening in Ukraine. And that's just the intro in order to go to the point, privacy and democracy in the digital age. Conclusions, and then some funny slides that you could print some stickers, maybe for the next edition of DefCamp. And they are highly ironic ones. And then the reading room, books or whatever that are strongly advise you to download by whatever you want. Disclaimer. I have to read it as well. You will understand why, but I'm an advisor to the United Nations. So the most important thing is there. Everything I'm going to tell you does not mandatory reflect the opinions and views of the United Nations, ENISA, because I'm a colleague with Mika, we are members of the PSG, my company, I'm speaking on my own here, and everything that is associated with us, but especially there. We are full of friends from the United States of America here. Where are you? Well, maybe out. This presentation is not against the government of the United States, neither the American people, but it aims to give a serious highlight on the biggest affair ever happened in the intelligence community since the Watergate scandal of Nixon, and the impacts that all of this is having on the concept of democracy in the information age. Quick abstract. When Eddie, he decided, well, he took his decision. I strongly think that he drew a new border in the intelligence world, which is very complex, and the world of the cyber operations. And we'll go in details on that. So I will try in the next half an hour, 40 minutes, maybe 45, to analyze the concepts of data breach, how it violates the privacy, and everything around is the Datagate affair, NSA scandal, but also what is happening in Kiev, in Caracas, as I mentioned you before. So once again, it's not only on NSA. Introduction, for those who doesn't know me, I have so many hats. I love to support communities. Those I'm really proud about is the UN. Since 2003, I'm the advisor on cybercrime at the United Nations, Interregional Crime and Justice Research Institute. You may have heard about us because I'm the dad of Hackers Profiling Project, HPP. So it's like 12 years that we are trying to profiling hackers. We published a book even, Profiling Hackers by CRC Press. It's the biggest research around about hackers, who we are and why we are in this way. I'm very proud to be at ENISA since 2010. I'm a good friend to Steve Santorelli at Team Kimru. Emmanuel Gadaixas, Telecom Security Task Force. I'm in the board of OWASP Italy. I'm the cultural attaché. This is so sexy. Cultural attaché for IPWG. Is a good community where we write standards in order to exchange each other's in real time info on incidents and so on. We are used to this, or we were used to this. I mean, every time that we read from the news about a data breach, immediately we think about activism and anonymous. We think about cyber terrorism, whatever it means. We think about militaries. We think about oil and gas, finance, banks, and the invisible hand that is stealing you something. This is so standard. I mean, I think from a psychological perspective, this should be at least the 6 things that pop to your mind immediately. Until this guy, he took a dramatic decision. I think it's better that all of us, we stop dreaming. If we really want to outperform our adversary, our enemy, first of all, we should know who is the enemy. And all the times that we speak to the customers as professionals, well, it's hackers. Hackers, I don't think it means anything anymore, really. There are more kind of hackers and justifications and something that I will show you a small extract from Hackers Profiling Project. But the concept itself of a secure box doesn't exist anymore, or maybe it ever existed at all. Why? Because we all know that the vulnerabilities are brought in by the vendors. Now, I saw the sponsors here, so it's better that I don't mention a couple of. But I was in a small hacking conference in France, in Bordeaux, and a guy, he jumped on the stage and said, well, you know, in my free Friday nights and weekend, I run some reverse engineering, and he showed in half an hour how he was able to fully own the most sell AV solution in the world. In a single click, to be able to contagiate, to send the evil things to millions of clients. Is this security? I mean, I'm paying you because you are a security solution, and you bring me in some vulnerabilities because you still believe in security through obscurity and you are scared by the underground community. Fuck off. All of this goes to the 0 days market then, because it's very rare, or just the good people, the good souls, as we are, all of you, right? We disclose. We love the full disclosure. But you may remember that a few months ago, the guys that founded Full Disclosure, they decided to close it. That's something terrible for the security community. No one is saying anything about that. A few media. Then we have the state-sponsored attacks. So that was not enough. Now governments are playing. The power shot about the DDoS, which is not an attack, come on, it's a stupid DDoS. But now in our hands, we have 4G, we have 100 megs just in the hand. It's so easy to run a DDoS. Then, as I said, Snowden, he took a decision which has changed the whole world, the concept of privacy, democracy, and intelligence operations. And that's what I'm going to speak about. I will try to focus on something different. As I told you, it will be a walkthrough, some new perspective, and case studies. I mentioned you, Hackers Profiling Project. We started back in 2003. We interviewed more than 1,500 hackers from all over the world. This is an extract from like 300 pages of research. It's still ongoing. We are phase 3 out of 8. And we need donors, anyhow. But we don't have anymore the hacker. We have the wannabe, we have the kid, the script kiddie, blah, blah, blah. There we try to give like an age of range, a range of age, a short ID card. If they hack alone or in a group, that's so important, and you will well understand why. Who they hack towards to and why they do it. But it's not about this. The point is that back in 2003, no, this chart was published officially in 2004, we were able to spot those three, especially the last two. That was before Anonymous, before China, before everything. And the people, especially some institutions, they came back to me and say, hey, Raul, maybe you went too far away. Come on, are you speaking about military hackers? They don't exist. Are you speaking about hackers hired by government in order to run black operation? Come on, that's not Hollywood. What the fuck? It happened. So we were not wrong. And we are the United Nations. But it's not just hackers. This is, well, on the next slide. Why cybercrime, first of all? I was saying that thing a lot with my colleagues from UN back in 2008 and 2009. But again, some institutions, they were saying, no, come on, cybercrime can't be ranked as the 4th global crime of the world. You are going too far, again. Then some other UN agency, UNODC from Vienna, ITU from Geneva, they woke up, and as well the United States Department of Justice and Interpol, and they say, well, shit, those guys were right. Yeah, cybercrime is a really serious issue. Well, few years late, but okay, you're welcome on board. If you want some real figures and piss it off of all the reports by the vendors about cybercrime, it's just crap. Go on those guys, Group IB from Russia. On my humble opinion, they did one of the best research when speaking about the amount of dollars involved and where cybercrime is making money and where it's going to. 80% is going not far from here, Ukraine and Russia, but there are also other countries that are emerging on this. I was telling you that cybercrime is different from hackers. Only on this slide, we could talk for like an hour, but here are the key points of why everything is changing and why I'm going to speak to you about organizations and state-sponsored attacks. So they are organized, they are well-founded. I mean, I think that all of us that we investigate on cybercrime, most of the time we are astonished by their perfect organization. They run those crime infrastructure much better than most of the companies around the world. They are organized, they have the money, they know how to make their job. This is something interesting. For you that don't know, December of the last year in Dubai, there was the ITU meeting. The agenda was something different, but at the end, the representative from more than 180 countries in the world, they were forced somehow to give a vote on the governance of internet. So it has been a huge fight between ITU and ICANN. Me personally am pro ICANN, but I should not say because I belong to UN. Shh. But what happened here? Red, they didn't sign. Black, they signed. And the gray, they said, I call out. Now, if you close your eyes and you think about the standard geopolitical map of the world, and you compare to this one, something is really changing. It's small difference or big ones. I mean, of course, US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and UK, they are on the same side. But if you take a closer look, something is changing in this world. And it's also because the cyber thing and the cyber aspect. So what's happening right now? That cybercrime and information warfare, they have a very wide spectrum of actions. The intrusion techniques they use are very likely. I will show you a great analysis by Alexander Kleinberg where you will understand. But all of this know-how and skills is available to a growing amount of actors. And those actors, which are the attackers, they have different goals. Their approach, the intensity of the attacks vary, changes, depending on who they are and what is their real goal. What do they attack to? On critical infrastructures, on government stuff, on military stuff, on private companies of any kind, banks, media, interest group, and private citizens. I highlighted in bold those actors that I will mention or speak over about in the next slides. But we have the nation states, we have the intelligence community, and law enforcement agencies. So this is weird already. Law enforcement agencies, again, is into the club of those attacking? Yes. Organized crime, activism, industrial spies, terrorists, corporations, and cyber mercenaries. This is just an extract of the key actors about this. Back in 2005, I don't know who among you remind this story. It went public in 2005. Someone hacked a mobile operator in Greece, in Athens. It was right after the Olympic Games of 2004. What they did, they were intercepting more than 100 targets from the prime minister to the chief of the intelligence. I mean, what the fuck? Someone is intercepting the chief of the intelligence, which is supposed to intercept on the other people. So it's not a game, something serious. The Greek EU commissioner, activists, journalists, law enforcement officials, and they had like 14 anonymous SIM cards, so they can't know who are the owners, 14, pay as you go, on which someone were receiving, well, actually those 14 guys or girls, all the SMS in and out and all the voice calls in real time. Now, that was a rootkit on MSC, the Mobile Switching Center. It's not something that me and you, we say, well, let's go to the shop and we buy a MOC and we carry in the car. It's huge, it's very expensive, it's from Ericsson, AXA. So it's not like me and Paolo, we sit down over a beer and we write over a weekend a rootkit from Microsoft. It's something different. You need skills, you need engineers, you need know-how and insight from Ericsson. As I told you, we had the Olympic Games, and in December 2007, the Data Protection Authority of Greece fined the guys over there with a 76 million euro fine, which we'll talk about this. The two best things I think that you can find in this case is from IEEE and Wikipedia. At that time, I was really, the first time I ran a pen test was in 1996. The first time I ran a pen test on a mobile operator was 98. I belong to Telecom Security Task Force. I'm among those 5 or 6 guys in the world that we know really the stuff on mobile security and telcos. I was amazed about this. I started to investigate, and I say, wow, what could be the profile of the attacker in this case? Back in 2005. Then, few time ago, Prism, US government might be the biggest hacker in the world. NSA loves SPC, they prefer hacking routers and switches. I mean, the big shit of the Snowden case pop up. The budget for what is called black operations, it went public, some articles over there in French, Italian, English, and so on. Back in 2011, this is from 2011, more than $500 million budget, wow, just to run Black Ops. 231 Black Ops until 2011. So, one was Greece. It makes 230. What about the other 230? How many mobile operators we have in the world? 197 countries, or 98, depends on you. An average of 2 mobile ops every country, but can be more or less. Wow, it's a lot. All the agencies involved, the intelligence community from US, the targets, highest priority, Iran, China, Afghanistan, North Korea, Syria. Wow, that's good. I mean, they do hack in order to protect all of us against the terrorism. This is very good. I don't want a bomb to come in Bucharest or in Torino. That's good. Russia, maybe it's not about terrorism, but we'll see. So I was thinking, okay, they got the attacks unit. They officially claim that they hack into foreign boxes in order to spy contents and controlling functions. But come on, they are our friends, allies, and they are defending us. They will never do anything wrong on allies. We are allies to that country. Then, September 2013, we got a big problem. The mobile operator from Belgium, they realized and officially claimed to the press that they've been hacked, they've been exfiltrated. The evidence points out to GCHQ, the intelligence of UK, and NSA. Now, the Belgacom is the provider of the European Commission, is the provider, as far as I know, of ENISA as well. Me and Mika, we are not terrorists. I don't think in Brussels there is any terrorist at the European Commission. Maybe there are some idiots, but not terrorists at all. UK, Belgium, European Union, an ally, a member, and you are hacking another member? This is totally unlaw. This can't be allowed, but it happened. And it happened who knows when. And then over the last days, all the world is speaking about Origin, a new malware, and we said with Mika that the first sites were already back in 2003, then 2005, then they disappeared, and then they pop up again. And it's targeting also mobile targets. There is something more. This is from the last year at DefCamp. Yes, please, sir.
So in the previous slide, you said that there were specific evidence that pointed out that GCHQ was the culprit. And I would be very, very interested to know what that evidence was.
The specific evidence I will quote at the end of my presentation. That's why I know that there will be a little bit longer. There was the great talk by Hipponen from F-Secure at TED, and he showed it, but I have them as well. 3 slides from an internal presentation at GCHQ that they went out to public, where they proudly claimed, wow, we got in, now we are doing some escalation thing, and we are owning that and that and that. So it's not some rumors. There are 3 slides that they went out from the Council of UK and are public. The code name on the slides were something like BRA something. Yeah. But as I told you, this is only a kind of introduction. The last year, certainly with you, we had a great roundtable about this. So in the Netherlands, the police was trying to ask for a special law, to push for a special law, in order to allow the police to hack your computer if you are from the Netherlands, because maybe you are a suspect, maybe. But no matter if your computer is not from our country, meaning from Netherlands, it may be from Romania. They wanted the law to authorize the police to hack your computer because possibly you are a bad guy. If they mistake, oops, sorry. If they would do any damage on your data, oops, sorry. So once again, this is against all the European laws we have. We had a great roundtable on that, I remember, and thank you again so much for that.
Ironically, this year, the Romanian intelligence service tried to push a bill that would allow them to hack into your computer if you're infected with malware, to access your computer, not to hack. If you're infected with malware, to gather evidence. Yeah. So it's just the same thing, but applied to Romania. It doesn't really matter. It's last year when we had this roundtable, we were discussing this in terms of the Netherlands and what the Dutch were doing, and some people here said, well, these are the Dutch, why does it affect us? And now this year, the Romanian Secret Service, Intelligence Service wanted basically to do the same thing, maybe not for persons, but for companies, but it's something very similar. So it shows that law enforcement agencies are seeking such powers on national level and a European level because Europol is supporting this idea of cross-border, something like the Schengen Agreement has this hot pursuit stipulation where the law enforcement of a country is allowed to go into another countries in pursuit of a car or some criminal if they cross the border. They want to do something like that for cyberspace.
And this, as you said, and as we said the last year, I'm not concerned only about what they are trying to do in Netherlands, but hey, all the governments are the same. If government A did that, government B will eventually try to do it. Indeed, in Romania they did. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, is this a derivative of the Budapest Convention, which I believe Romania is a signatory?
No, because this came much after the Budapest Convention. As UN, well, without the head of UN, I can tell you that the Budapest Convention is totally useless against cybercrime, totally. It's a good thing that we have it. It's better than nothing, but the guys that fight cybercrime every day, as I do, we know that it doesn't change anything at all. Especially when the investigation on pedopornography leads you to Kiev, and in Ukraine, it's not a crime to exchange a picture of a 5-year-old girl abused. It's a crime if they sell it. But as investigators, we should be able to prove the exchange of money, which you know is the hardest thing ever. Especially when your things that you work on, they lead you in Russia, where the 50% of FSB is corrupted. And they work together with the kingpins of cybercrime. But again, to go to the point, these powers would not only cover computers located in the Netherlands, but also computers located in other countries, and the location of those if the location of those boxes cannot be identified. This is scary, scary. But again, it's not the point. In 1984 time, they published the I mean on the front page, Orwell and the Big Brother. Then the person of the year was ex-President Obama. That's from the movie. So I wonder myself, here I'm starting to be ironic because, come on, all of us is tired and the lunch is closed. They gave him the Nobel Prize for the Peace. Why don't all of us call Edward Snowden to get the Nobel Prize for the Peace? Because I'm serious here. I mean, half ironic and half I'm serious. If they give it to him, I don't understand why we may not think about to give him, to assign it also to Edward Snowden. But let's go serious. This is from a book in India. As far as I know now, it's out of the market, has been sided. And there was this campaign, hey, we got a new game to play, Cyber War. Yo, it's a child play now. Have you ever analyzed all the hundreds of defacements every day from India to Pakistan, doing the chi? Most of the cyber gangs are kids that they enjoy just to run a defacement and to raise the flag of their own country. This is the slide I mentioned you at the beginning, making cyber war, whatever it means. This is from the great Alexander Kleinberg. He analyzed the time efforts of the adversary, because the most of the people, especially the generals, they think, well, cyber war, click, boom. No, the boom is the 5%. You have intelligence and logistics, 40%. You have to live discover the systems, 5% or whatever. You have to running really detailed setup, then testing and practice, and then execute the attack. To be more clear, these are some extracts that we did with Alexander on that. And at the beginning, I told you, there are not huge differences between cybercrime and information warfare. That's what is scaring me, the thin border between those two words that should never collapse together, but it's happening. So in red, I highlighted, a few things. I'm sorry, whenever you rent a botnet, whenever you purchase at a kit, whenever you find or trade a good command and control server, whenever you purchase 0 days or certificates, Stuxnet, that's from cybercrime. Let's stop kidding. In Ukraine, there are 4 factories, private companies, that they produce malware on demand for governments. We know it, but they're still there. Just an example to be even more clear, when I say background info on a target organization chart, this is the only slide I will not publish. I was running an OSINT class, and I asked it to my students, okay, target Iran, Stuxnet is over, those guys will never pick up again a USB key, sorry, it's game over. Find another way, please. Only through OSINT, identify the targets. So where is the yellow? We were full of notes. And it's very interesting to understand that some of the employees of the target company, they are as well from the academic world, they do R&D at private companies, blah, 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 blah. So just as the presenter before he showed, a client-side attack could be a good way in order to get in. But this is only an example. Scenarios. In these days, over these 2 days, we spoke about 0 days. So let's see that you are a lead researcher, you find a lead 0 day, the one of your life. So to who you could buy, trade, or whatever you want the stuff. I mean, who could trade or buy from you that stuff that you find, crown jewel. Some hacker folk, which eventually may decide to not be very fair with you, very transparent, very clear, and resell to IT vendors. And I remember another presentation from yesterday where they explained why. Security companies, because they want to have one more day when the customer is buying up and testing from them, so it's to distinguish from the other competitors or whatever. Big internet players, we know FB and Google, they pay for you if you have some 0 days interest into them. The brokers, as our friend from Israel mentioned yesterday, law enforcement agencies, intelligence agencies, those companies that they sell to those two, the LI thing, so the state interception, the cybercrime and organized crime. I don't know who of you knows what is really happening in Mexico. There are some drug cartels that got more economical power than few countries in the world. And they hire, pay, or kidnap, expertise, IT engineers, TLC engineers, in order to do their stuff. So I was amazed when I realized that in Mexico, the market for LI is really small. So then it happened to me to speak with a couple of judges from there, and they told me, well, Raul, it's kind of no sense to buy products in order to intercept the bad guys, because the bad guys, they set up their own operator for the task they need to accomplish, and then they shut it off. Wow. And the pawning contest, the CTFs, maybe hacktivists. So let's go to the point. All of us, we know about the spy files. I think that lawful interception is something that must be there. It's mandatory. If you are an operator, you are forced to be compliant to a request. But maybe it's another thing when private companies that do this as a job, they decide to sell to dictators. Also, our friend Julie, are you here? The journalist that she made a good talk over, yeah? You told us about Egypt and other countries. This is very famous. Mr. Claudio Guarnieri from Shadow Server, along with EFF and the other folks, they did a good research. This is an Italian company, Hacking Team. They claim, they keep on to claim, we don't sell to any dictators and bad governments. I'm Italian, they're Italian, I'm sorry to say, they are doing that. They don't care, it's business. It's hundreds of thousands of euros, it's millions of euros involved. But hey, come on, do we really think that Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Morocco is changing, Sudan, those others are countries without dictators where you're free to do whatever you want? Stop bullshitting. But in order to be equilibrate, we have the Germans also, Finn Fisher, and it's full of these companies. I mean, if you go to the spy files, it's full of these kind of companies. Most of them are from Europe, a big amount. Once again, those countries, especially in red, are not what I would name the very nice guys over the citizens. Another man on which we may have the next year a presentation on, about, he said that mass interception of entire populations is not only a reality, is a secret new industry that's spanning around 25 countries, at least, I would add. The business, we're speaking about $5 billion a year. It's not peanuts. Only in Italy, because I asked around, is 300 millions of euros a year right now. So coming back to the question, who do you want to sell your 0 days to? Do you want to sell to Google, NSA, to the French people, to some of those countries in the world, to ImmunitySec, to Hacking Team, to Palo Alto, to whatever, you name one, or the BDI. But as I told you, there are also the pawning contest. You can stop the black market. Don't buy or don't sell. It's very easy. But who is taking the decision? So, as again, our friend from Israel, he mentioned yesterday, this was a famous article on shopping for the 0 days, a price list, blah, 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 appeared on Forbes in 2012. So, of course, all of that now it's not there anymore. It was up. But I want to bring you to another point before we go to the real point. This is, I don't know, many of you are contacted on LinkedIn or whatever by weird guys because they see that I do brokering on 0 days, so they contact me. This was a guy from India, from AppPin Security. Really a lame guy, let me tell you, a lamer, one of the biggest lamer ever I had to deal with in my life. The prices are very low. I mean, starting from 1,000 up to the most expensive is 20,000. This is from a year and a half ago. So I said, well, weird. You are claiming that you got an Office, XP, Windows 7, whatever. I buy it for a couple of thousand, whatever. He sent me a new day that into his mind, the target should click on a .x file in order to get contacted, to be exploited. Come on, who is so idiot still to click on a .x in 2013 or 2012? Few people, yeah. Some journalists, I'm sorry, in North Africa because they haven't been trained. So as Claudio Guarnieri, he showed up when RCS, when Hacking Team is sending the malware, most of the time is a .x, is a .doc.x or whatever. That's so lame. But again, there is also this kind of offering on the market, so cheap ones. So where is the truth? I'm sorry, I added this tonight, the last night. Oop. This is from the register, November 11, 2014. The German intelligence agency, they want millions of budget from Angela Merkel in order to buy 0 days. I mean, it's not Raul that is claiming this, it's fucking public. But let's go into the details. 300 million in funding they are asking for. And they claim that at least 4.5 million will be spent seeking bugs in SSL and HTTPS. Why? Because historically, an intelligence agency, they got pissed off when something is encrypted. So they want to see inside the encrypted packet. But 4.5 million, wow, again, it's not peanuts. And the BND is shopping for 0 days bug, not to fix them, but to exploit them. Then there are some comments from our friends from the CCC. That guy, Comer, is also critical of the strategy on the basis that government shouldn't be helping fund the green market for security vulnerabilities. This is what I want to tell you about. Black market, gray market, white market, those range of prices from thousands to million. What the fuck? So, this is the real story. A human being code a software. Probably he doesn't know about OWASP, about SLDC. He doesn't know about everything that he should know, he should be aware of. So eventually, this causes a bug or bugs. In Alice in Wonderland, everything is nice. He calls the vendor immediately answers him and say, thank you, boy, we love him and we will give you all the credits and maybe also some money, or just it's for free, but we will credit you. Or he will call the CERT of his country, the European CERT, or if it's about SCADA, the ICS, or whatever in his country, just because he's a hero. That's Alice in Wonderland. After, eventually, in Alice in Wonderland, we have a patch and a new software release, and we click update, and all of us are happy. No. In the real life, that bug, it becomes a 0-day that can be spreaded, sold, or circulate into a black market, which is cybercrime, into a gray market, underground, with dark links, not so easy to understand, or into what I heard is named the white market. What does it mean, a white market? I mean, it's a white market if the bug goes to a market where then it goes, let's say, to VUPEN, and then it's sold to NSA again, or to Hacking Team, or to whatever. Maybe it's more gray. I don't know. I'm not good at colors. But I decided to take another approach. So, no matter what is the vulnerability, Adobe, whatever, is there a public knowledge of the vulnerability or not? I mean, is there a CVE? Yes or no? Yes, no. If it's a no, no matter to who you are going to sell that vulnerability to, that's another point of evaluation, there will be a per 2 until a per 10 increase of the value of that. But if you're selling to the same ODA to a security company rather than an intelligence agency for government use, let's say for us protection of the homeland security, rather than a Ministry of Defense that, of course, they don't give a shit to protect, but they wanted to attack, to be offensive, or to organize crime, the same vulnerability will have a different price. And a second perspective is here. We still have the same column, but is a vulnerabilities that is relying on the OS, as I was asking to our friends from Israel and Austria, so why most of the malware right now is on Microsoft and is not on Sun Solaris or whatever. So OS depending. Is it an MGA like it's Adobe? Adobe, in the last 12 months, the prices of vulnerabilities for a Flash player, they went down. Who still is on Flash player? It's so lame. But Adobe for the PDF, wow, yeah, it still has a good price. Or SCADA stuff. Then still the kind of buyer, and then the code of the ODA and the POC has got a range. But let's go to the point. Back in 2007, how many of you remember the name of Nikolai Kuryanovich? He was at the Duma in Russia. He said in the very near future, many conflicts will not take place on the open field of battle, but rather in spaces of the internet, fought with the aid of information soldiers, which are hackers. This means that a small force of hackers is stronger than multi-thousand force of the current armed forces. 2007. What happened in 2007? Like Estonia? Rings a bell? So that guy was really right. He was right. He had a long perspective. Another thing that I advise you to take a look from activity in Hungary, a hacking event, back 2 years ago, this guy, Xaba, he made a great talk. I think it was 3 years ago. He asked to the audience and to some governments and to underground hacking community of Hungary, should we consider hackers as the enemy troubles or a national resource, an opportunity for the governments? Because it's a few years that we began to hear about the concept of patriotic hackers. And once again, if we carefully analyze India and Pakistan, they're doing something like that, even maybe in the wrong way, not error-free, but they're doing it. Think about the bloggers, think about North Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, Gulf area, Iran and Twitter. What is happening over there? What is happening over there? So the cyber element can really influence and change that map of the world that ITU show it up. It's different now. This is from a long time ago. The US, they knew. So already FBI, already in 2004, they were hiring hackers. Then we had our friend Muj that he went to the DARPA. We had, well, plenty of my friends from US are, officially or not, they do something in some agencies. Most of the time when they don't post anymore and they disappear or astray, they have a low profile, something happened and they got hired. But that's normal. But let's turn the page and go to the next page at the end. In Caracas, this is in Italian, but easy to understand. The government, when the riots was there on the last December, they blocked the Pastebin and Twitter. They seized the press cards from CNN journalists. The government of President Maduro, they decided to censorship the media and so on. Hey, it's very easy to read such an article. So we say, so what? So what? So this was happening in that country. And they blocked all the pictures, all the evidences. And this is people like you and me. I really don't accept this. I don't. I mean, I don't deal with the decision of a government, especially if it's not mine, but I cannot access this. Because there were people like us. I'm sorry. And this is, everything is starting, don't forget, I'm not a political guy, I'm a technical guy, I'm a geek, as you are. So everything still, there is mention on Twitter, Zello and Pastebin. So let's go on. Operation Venezuela by Anonymous. I don't like Anonymous. I don't think they have a good attitude or whatever. But in this case, they've been the only one to do something against that government. So kudos in this case. Much more. But then let's go to Ukraine. In Ukraine, they had a big square in Kiev, and they had a demonstration. All the citizens, they went to downtown to demonstrate. Like a parade, but it's a spontaneous parade. Before of this, the MNO, the mobile operators over there, they claimed that they were hacked. So once again, maybe we are still at 230. Maybe now we are 229. Who knows? But if you were in that square, and you had a cell phone on you, because the cell phone is the most intimate thing that you wear every morning, all the day, along with you, and the night also. They received this SMS. I don't speak Russian, so he say, dear recipient, you are registered as a participant in this demonstration. Period. They use the technology, I mean, HLR queries, whatever. The BTS is telling me that this IMEI, that this email is here and this SIM number is here. But it's very scary. I mean, they're not telling you can't go to demonstrate. They are saying, we know. And you know that we know. So, this is again one slide over which we may have a good debate for half an hour, but now I really have to finish. But, in my opinion, this is a research from my team. We're speaking about cyberwar, adversarial governance, soft cyberwar, and cooperative governance. And we have attention all over the world, and we have those actors that are trying to regulate. So, in my humble opinion, we may put right now Kiev over there, and Kiev and Caracas for different regions over there. But let's go to the final point. This guy is my hero, not only because he's Finnish as Mika, not because he has been the first security expert to show his face and put his balls on a stage at the TED and say, hey, something here is wrong. He made a great talk at TED that is available there. This is from me, then I will quote to Miko. We have the stickers and it's over. the scenarios and happening which were not mandatory, including a massive control of the information on the citizens, are now a reality. So Orwell, 1984, is already here. It's already here, it's happening. The governments are abusing of the technology. Once again, my point is not on governments, it's on the abuse of technology from the government. With the support of private companies, this means money involved, and they are acting like organized crime and the cybercrime is doing. This is totally, totally, totally wrong. We must do something now, and why? I was trying to build some slides, and then I said, hey, he said already the best ever. He said, are the Americans ready to throw away the Constitution, throw it right into the trash, just because they are terrorists? And the same thing with the Bill of Rights and the amendments, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the EU Convention on Human Rights, and the fundamental freedom and the freedom of press. Do we really think terrorism is such an existential threat that we're ready to do everything at all and throw everything away? Thousands of years of history? And then he said, privacy is not negotiable. Privacy is not something that has got a price. No negotiation, sorry. It's my privacy, it's my stuff, it's my life. It should be built into the systems that we use. The surveillance changed the history. I mentioned at the beginning the scandal with Nixon and the Watergate. Imagine if a man such as Nixon, he's still alive. Imagine if he would have this kind of surveillance tools that are available today. And then he ends up with a quote of Ms. Rousseff, the president of Brazil, still re-elected. She was one of the targets of the surveillance of NSA, but again, NSA, XXX, I don't care. Our president was intercepted. Angela as well. Her emails were read, and she spoke at the headquarters of the UN in New York, and she said, this is gold. If there is no right to privacy, there can be no true freedom of expression and opinion, therefore no effective democracy. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm stealing 5 extra minutes. It's about this. And the privacy is the building block of our democracies. And if you don't care about someone that is into politics, this guy is like us, is Marcus Renum. Okay? He's a guru. He's a geek. And he's saying, he's very strong. The United States right now is treating the internet as it would be treating one of its colonies. I heard this also from Mika. So we are back to the age of colonization, and we are the foreigners, users of the internet, which is like the 96% all over the world. So we are the more and not the smaller. We should think about Americans as our masters. He's very strong, but I can't answer that he's wrong. Conclusions. We're living in a world that is changing so dramatically. I really think that it's time to wake up and realize it, if you haven't yet. We still trust too much on third parties. The free Wi-Fi, wow, I connect, all the apps are secure, Big G, Google, vendors, NSA, whatever. We don't consider poor gold our information, that again, everything is about us. The European community must do something. The parliaments of each European member state should do something, no matter if it's Finland, Italy, Romania, whatever. They must do something. We must force our political guys to do something. The laws and everything that we mentioned before, even the Budapest thing, the rules of engagement, when it's cyber, they must be revised. Anyhow, we lost the privacy already a long time ago, so I don't see the point. Against obscure powers, like NSA, we can't do, come on, it's an intelligence agency, it's their job, they got the biggest budget ever in the world, but they have been hit somehow. But I really feel, and this is the final thing of my talk, that we are seriously close to a no return point. We want to do something or not. I promise you the stickers just to have fun. I don't think that a free society is compatible with an organization like the NSA in its current form. You can print it and stick around your laptop. Exposing NSA surveillance since 2007 from our friends the Simpsons. The NSA, the only part of government that actually listens, which is very ironic. And the last one, yes, we scan. Yes, we scan. So guys, these are the books I told you are really advised by Claudio Guarnieri that I mentioned before and other friends from Citizen Lab and the Moon School of Global Affairs in Toronto. That stuff, the paper over there. I was reading the book by Greenwald on Snowden. It's very interesting. I discovered things that I didn't know. The kingpin is on cybercrime and whatever is out here and there. So I hope the ones in red are those that I really strongly advise you to take a look and read about. Thank you once again. If you have questions, or by the way, she decides.
Questions after the break, because we are half an hour delay.
Okay.
It was a great presentation. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.